Welcome in, guys. Happy Wednesday. It's going to be our last podcast until next Friday. Obviously, the All-Star break coming up. We have a short card going on tomorrow. Massive card going on today. We'll jump into that in just a second. Split on a couple bets yesterday. Orlando Magic could not get it done for us against OKC. Kings, sweaty one. They keep it within 5.5 number we had. Beat the closing line by a point. That one mattered all the much. And if anyone got that number a bit late or just tough the way that game closed with the fouls. Late foul was a foul. They're inbounding it, so they get the extra free throw. But nonetheless, beating the number keeps us a winner in that game. So split on the Tuesday night card. We'll see what we can get going here. Massive slate already. John, pretty crazy night in the NBA as always last night. That Kings-Suns game, very competitive. And then obviously some of those earlier matchups. Celtics do what they do against the Nets, going at it again today. Heat against Milwaukee. No Jimmy Butler. No problem. Embarrassed them. And the Pistons, they've been on a bit of an against the spread run, but that didn't hold up in LA last night.
Yeah. Let's go back one more day just because we weren't here yesterday. I want to talk about the game we had the prior night, which was Knicks Houston. And
the foul, yeah.
Let's just talk about it. Kind of explains how the season's been going this year. We've got the Knicks +1 in that game, and they fought throughout, down double digits. But there at the end, we got a tie game, last possession for the Rockets, and we think the game's over. We're headed into overtime. Matter of fact, I'm looking at Don Best, and it says end fourth quarter. So I wasn't watching the game as it went on. I go over to him, and I say, what the hell just happened? They just put 2 more points up, and those 2 more points were put up when at 1/10 of 1 second left, a fucking foul is called, a shooting foul. This wasn't on top. This was the final free throws of Knicks went 7 for 12. Rockets 23 for 33. Cannot win games with that disparity at the foul line. Don't want to be one of these guys crying conspiracy and refs and this and that. It's just explaining what happened. And what's happening is the Knicks, there was such a bad call. The referees admitted it was a bad call. After the game, the Knicks have actually going to file a protest in this game. Again, just seems to be we're not winning the 50-50 games. This is what I used to talk about, a 50-50 game. So Sacramento, Phoenix, it comes down to the wire. That's a 50-50 game. It's right around the number. Being that we took, if you took 5 on the game, you got to push. I actually had one of our Master Edge members say they took 4.5. And that was the closing line. If there was plenty of time to get 5.5 early in the morning, you had all 5 pretty much all day. So to take 4.5, you just took the wrong number. But anyway, 5 is the push number. This is why each half number means something. So the 50-50 game, we took the right number. We get it with Sacramento. But that's been the exception. The Knicks a 50-50 game, and they call a shooting foul with 1/10 of a second left on the clock. And these are the games that just the 50-50 games, we're like 30-70 losers in them. And this is what's killing us this year. Those have to turn around. Mathematically, we always talk about math because it's all number. When numbers are involved, it's math. Yes, I get it. It's a game. It's human error. But math is going to come to play. The closing number, okay? On that closing number, 50% of the time the favorite's going to win. 50% of the time the dog is going to win. It's how much do you beat that closing number by, and then you're going to get your share of the 50-50 games on top of it. So I think we're owed quite a bit in the second half. We'll look forward to that.
Yeah, bringing up that Knicks protest. I mean, it pretty much doesn't happen when you protest a game and they actually try to make it and play it back. But the situation of that where it was a tied game going into overtime kind of opens up the idea you could replay that overtime session and have it, take the place. So I wonder if they do actually make a move on that. But again, very, very rare for the league to actually overturn on a protest. So I'll be interested if they actually do something.
But just bringing up the point, whether it's right or it's wrong,
right.
It's just that's how egregious, that's how terrible a call it was. The refs admit it's a bad call. And again, we're not throwing those conspiracy. We laugh at people. The NBA won it, Vegas won it. It's just a bad call. It's human error. It's bad refereeing. the refereeing, the umpiring in the major sports, it just keeps getting worse. It's on front and center, and it just keeps getting worse. The speed of the game, the ability, athletic ability of the players is just too much for the naked eye. Look at let's talk about a magician at his craft. He defies the naked eye. He's pulling a bowl out of your nose. It's just, this is what's happening with star athletes. The game is too fast for the naked eye to see. So I don't know how you fix this other than because they can't even get replay right half the time.
No.
So to slow up the game, just to continue with a bad call with replay, I don't know that that's the answer. Or just suck up the bad calls. And but yeah, let's stay off the conspiracies. And again, I don't know if I said it on here or Instagram. I saw so many idiots, and I guess they're just going for clicks because there can't be this many morons in the world. That I got the script. I got the NFL. I got the final. I got the fucking final score script, as I've done 2 of the last 3 years, called it within a point. Everybody's got the script. It's a fake. Vegas makes the call. It's actually nauseating. But what makes it even more nauseating is that people actually follow these idiots. I just don't understand how stupid the public could be, but I guess that's why they only move the numbers when sharp guys bet them.
Absolutely is. And we'll see if we can get a couple of winners today based on some movements on our action. We have bet out so far. Obviously, more could be added, some questionables. One of the most of these teams last day before the All-Star break. A couple of guys going tomorrow. Big card. Let's go ahead and dive on in. Hawks at Hornets. Couple of bigs out. No Capella, no Okongwu. So going to be shorthanded in the size. They're coming off a loss to the Bulls. You have this Hornets team coming off a nice win at home against the Pacers. Playing a bit better right now, Charlotte is. After the trade deadline, cleared them out a bit. Bridges, he had a solid game. Grant Williams, he had 21 points. His first really solid game now with the Hornets. Matchup history favors Charlotte a little bit. 4-1 straight up against the spread last 5 meetings. Won the last 2 meetings in Charlotte. They've now covered 4 in a row at home. And yes, Hawks playing a bit better, but still just not that great on the road this season. 5-14 against the spread. Charlotte or nobody playing better ball. You're missing size here for the Hawks. Usually the weakness for the Hornets is the lack of size. That's not going to be as much of an effect. And whenever you have a team like this Hawks team who already plays super up-tempo, top 3 in scoring, bottom 2 in points allowed, and you're missing both bigs, look at that scoring to uptick even more. So it'd be a lean of the over in this game also.
Yeah, before we even get started, though, let's just this is NBA's always, we call it weird. It gets even weirder. Last day before most of these teams, just 3 games tomorrow. So you got basically almost everybody. This is their last game. So just always funny how they took it, how they're going to play this last game. Always a good day to bet in game. So this could be a little spot for some halftimes. You could see who's playing, who's already checked out for the first half. And that's what's tough about a team like Charlotte. I see what Ben sees with Charlotte. Do I want Charlotte, a team that's all they're playing for, fucking ping pong balls already? They got a week coming up break. Who's going to bang their girlfriend or whatever they're going to look to do? Are they showing up for this game? So that remains to be seen. Atlanta, they're going to be a playing team. As bad as they've played all year, by default, the only other 2 teams that have a chance to break into that top 10 are the Nets and the Raptors. And those 2 teams they're terrible. So by default, Atlanta should get in there. DeJounte Murray, they tried to trade him all year, didn't get it done. So now it's him and Trey that form one of the better backcourts in the NBA. And that should be enough to blow by a Charlotte team. But Charlotte has been playing a little better. Let's see if they're checked in or checked out. And we'll keep an eye on that one as that one goes on.
We have Knicks at Orlando. This Knicks team, obviously coming off that tough loss there against Houston. They're now 1-4, 0-5 against the spread. Their last 5 games, really just these injuries adding up. Hartenstein, he missed last game. He's questionable. DiVincenzo has been the number 2 option here with all these injuries. He's questionable. So much bigger of a loss right now. Got to see what's going on with them. And this Orlando team, back-to-back, they get crushed by OKC last night. They jumped out to a hot start, up 12 early, and then it was all OKC since in that one. As far as the matchup history here, Orlando's been playing this matchup a bit better. They won and covered the last 3 meetings. They won both this year. They won the last 2 in Orlando. Lean here to the Magic. Knicks just they could not get to the All-Star break fast enough. They're playing terrific basketball December, January. You come here, you have all these injuries adding up. They're the team that needs the All-Star break as much as anyone. So this would be Orlando or nobody, maybe looking to get a little bit of a bounce back after last night's game.
Yeah, so this is what we literally consider limping into the All-Star break, and then they're doing it now. This is always a good spot. As you can see, we got LeBron James going to sit out today. Kawhi Leonard's going to sit out. Some of the bigger names, we'll get them as we get down there. But this could always be a good day for those guys that maybe would play somewhere else. But being this is the last game before a week break, they may sit. Hartenstein, he's been in and out of the lineup. He's been doing a great job since Mitchell Robinson's been out. But now you got Robinson out, Randall out, Anunoby out, now Hartenstein, and maybe DiVincenzo. Just too much to overcome if that's the case. So even though Orlando's on a back-to-back, and Orlando really shit the bed last night. I mean, I'm looking at a game here. I told Ben just before we came on the podcast, even after the game is over and I've re-rated the teams, I can't make the Thunder any better than their rating is, right. And I can't make Magic any worse, and I still only have Thunder 2.1 points better on the road than at home. Once you figure in the spot and stuff, I still see that game as a 1-point game. So Magic on a no-show yesterday. Don't know how that was a no-show against a team like the Thunder, but it's got to be Magic or nobody today just because of the injuries piling up on the Knicks. We'll see if Hartenstein and DiVincenzo are out. Again, like I said, more apt to sit out in this spot just because they've got that week rest coming up and they can use it.
We have Heat at 76ers, usually a really exciting Eastern Conference matchup. Both teams, though, pretty banged up. No Butler, obviously, with the personal issues. Then you have the 76ers team, Harris, Melton, Batum. They're all going to remain out on this one. Sixers, another team, can't wait for this all-star break here. I mean, outside of Embiid, they just have all these other issues going on. So as far as Miami, playing good ball right now, 5-2, 6-1 against the spread, their last 7. Adebayo with the triple-double last night and their big win against the Bucks. Yes, back-to-back, but a blowout, so pretty smooth sailing. And they have all the matchup history. Beat them Christmas Day, 5-1 straight up against the spread the last 6 meetings. And that's where we got some action here, John.
Yeah, but we're talking about decimated both teams. Now, Heat, no Butler, Terry Rozier, and Jay Richardson out. They've got some other guys that they can come in and play. Ben mentioned Philadelphia. Maxey is the only starter that's going to be left in the lineup. You got no Embiid, no Harris, Melton, Batum. Those were your other 4 starters to start the season. So, yeah, Miami's back-to-back. But, again, pretty much of a breeze game yesterday, and they just always find a way. Spoelstra just finds a way. The reserves pick it up. Bam with a triple-double yesterday. Got to give them the edge. 4 points, just too many points for me to have Philadelphia. Philadelphia went and got a couple of victories. The last victory against Cleveland. This has been your NBA season. They could not play for shit. At halftime, they were shooting 60%. No way could that continue. Their starters were shooting 64%, and they still went and they knocked off Cleveland, a team that had won 16 of 17. I can't see that continuing, not with the lineup that they have. Give me the 4 points. I got the Heat.
And we have Pacers at Toronto. Both teams coming off disgusting losses. Pacers lose at Charlotte, 111-102 in that one. Raptors get blown out by the Spurs on their home floor. Wembanyama comes embarrasses them with the triple-doubles for the blocks. So both teams coming off some bad games. Toronto just 3-10, 4-9 against the spread, their last 13. Charlotte 3-4, 2-5 against the spread, their last 7. Both teams not playing such great basketball right now. Raptors got them earlier this season in Indy, but Pacers won all 3 meetings last year. Slightest leans here to the Pacers. Haven't liked how Toronto has looked, and would expect a little bit of a bounce-back game here from Indiana heading into the break. We'll see how they get up for this. Some questionables both sides, though. Barrett, Miles Turner, and Mathurin all questionable in this game.
Where are we here? So yeah, I'm actually just sent this one out right now. I just sent the under on that. We'll talk that one in about a minute. But Pacers terrible loss against the Hornets. Just looked like when they were getting Halliburton fully healthy, had played his first game of 30 minutes. He goes into Charlotte and has a stinker. What did we get from Halliburton? 5 for 15. 13 for just 13 points, and they were held to 27% from three. That's not Indy's game. They're not going to win like that. The only thing is they're going up to Toronto. Toronto's packed it in. We took a shot with Toronto there 2 games ago against Cleveland, a team that they've played well in Toronto and played tough both times prior to that, losing by 3 at Cleveland, winning by 3 at Toronto. But there was just another absolute no-show, and they followed that up with a beatdown at home by the Spurs, who we were just talking about. Looks like the Spurs might be hitting, and Wemby might be hitting that rookie wall. No, Wemby with a triple-double with 10 blocks. So the Raptors looked like that team is absolute toast right now. Don't like either of these two teams. What I do like is the under. Let me go over some stats here. Last 3 meetings have all gone over. But when you play at Indiana is just a different team. 16 of their last 21 road games, the Pacers have gone under. The last 4 road games have averaged 219.3 points per game. Raptors, their last 8 home games have gone under. The last 3 averaging 215.3. I'm under 245 in this one. I think that's a no-brainer. Pacers just a different team on the road. Throw in a couple of offensive guys. You got Turner questionable, Mathurin questionable. RJ Barrett, leading scorer for the Raptors, is questionable. I'm going to go on the under here. I don't like either of the teams, the way the teams are playing.
We got Nets at Boston. This is a bit of a home and home. They played last night. Celtics up big in that game, 23. Let the Nets backdoor some of the numbers. Depends on what you got on a closing line in that one. Some people push, some people won. Depends if you got 7.5, 8, 8.5, all the way across the board on that. But lands on 8. Vegas right on that number again. Tatum, big game, 41 points. Bridges and Cam Thomas, they played solid in that one. This is just 2 teams not covering really right now. And then obviously if you look at the numbers, it kind of says that you got Brooklyn 3-10, 2-11 against the spread their last 13 on the road. Celtics 5-3, 1-7 against the spread their last 8 at home. So neither team covering on the road or at home. And the matchup history is all Celtics, as you guys know. Do they come for this game a bit more, try to get a big one before the break? How does Brooklyn travel? I mean, for 2 teams not covering, they played last night right to the number. Could have another one of those in store tonight.
Yeah, what do we got here? We got a 13.5-point line, and that's basically what the numbers should be. Simmons, he won't play back-to-back for the Nets, but they should get Cam Johnson back. He's missed the last 3 or 4. Porzingis did not play last night. They sit Porzingis last night. He'll play tonight. Horford did play. He'll be rested. Celtics, they could have cruised on that game last night. They did leave the back door open a bit. That's why you don't lay games when you're supposed to try to win by double digits, because your better team's always going to give up that fourth quarter, to put some guys on the bench and get some rest, especially when they've got a back-to-back coming. Tonight's game, more of the same. Celtics should win by double digits. Will it be enough to cover 13.5? This is maybe a shot to get a feel for that in game. If that big number's up there again, maybe we try the back door with Brooklyn again.
And we have Bulls at Cleveland. Bulls coming off a nice win at Atlanta. You have this Cavs team snapped a 9-game home win streak. They lose that one to Philly. Mitchell, big game, just couldn't play the defense that they've been playing on this stretch. Still, though, 17-2, 13-6 against the spread. Their last 19 games playing good basketball. And matchup history, Cleveland. One of the last 6 meetings, they've won for their 5-1 straight up and against the spread. Also, the last 6 meetings in Cleveland. Coming off that loss, a little bit of a bounce-back spot here. Cavs are nobody. I'm not looking to get it in front of this train here before the All-Star break. We'll see if they have one more win here under their belt.
Hey, Bulls have been playing good basketball too, though. Cavs, did they let their hair down a little bit coming back home against Phillies, and they got shocked? Can they bounce back? Garland going to be questionable, and Merrill questionable. That's an illness on both of them. Always remember what we say. You got a couple of guys in the locker room with an illness. Got to be careful it don't spread. So I don't like that situation for them. But, yeah, they've pretty much owned this matchup. They've been red hot. We'll have to see who's available for them and where this line is later. Don't want to win by double digits with Cleveland in this spot. Look, these are two lower scoring teams. Figure for a lower scoring game. Cavs second in the league allowing points, and Bulls 26th, 27th in scoring. So we always talk about how double digits, or in this case now the line down to 8.5 since the injuries came out, 8.5 points worth more in a slower scoring game like this than 8.5 points would be in a wide open, high scoring game.
We have Rockets at Memphis. Rockets 4 city in 6 days, coming off that win there against the Knicks. You have Brooks, who had a pretty solid game in that one. Still no Van Fleet and Whitmore. And you have this Memphis team held to 87 points in that loss to the Pelicans. Alabama and Pippen Jr., they combined to shoot 416 in that one. They're just another team limping to the All-Star break. I mean, at least the Knicks and the Sixers, obviously they have playoff aspirations. They're expected to get some guys back. I mean, Memphis, they're pretty much turned in for the season at this point. So really would not want to back them in this situation the day before the break. Would expect them, of all teams, to be looking forward to their vacations coming up this week. And here's the kicker, too. The matchup history, obviously, with Dillon Brooks. Rockets, they won and covered all 3 meetings this year. After the last one, Brooks said he never wants to lose to Memphis again in his career. Let them know they made a mistake. I think his head's going to get a little inflated beating up on this G League-filled Memphis team. Wouldn't be surprised they get another double-digit blowout. And we'll be telling you guys that first matchup next year when Bay and Morant and everyone else is back around for the Grizzlies. We'll be looking for that revenge angle in this matchup against the Rockets.
Yeah, Houston, look, Houston's a different team without Van Vliet on the floor. This guy's got over a 5-to-1 assist-to-turnover ratio, which is huge. So he'll miss again. Whitmore, who gives him some nice time off the bench, he's going to miss another game. As Ben said, 4th and 6th. He's starting to wear down a little bit. Here should be another low-scoring game. Grizzlies score the fewest points in the NBA. Houston, they built this little run that they had at the beginning of the year on defense. Right. Hasn't been as prevalent, but they got back into it their last game with that game coming against the Knicks. So look for another low-scoring game, but they beat this number up. The Sharps absolutely all over the Grizzlies in this one. The overnight line came up 5.5. It's down to 2.5. I was sitting at 3 with the number. Probably should have jumped on the 5.5. But again, just in that spot, do you want one of the worst teams on the last day just before the vacay, before the All-Star break? So we sat this one out. It was Grizzlies or nobody at 2.5. That's the solid number, though.
Then we have the Wizards at the Pelicans. Wizards coming off a cover for us against the Mavs on Monday. Tyus Jones, another great point guard game. 14 points, 16 dimes. Kuzma and Avdia, they got it going. Wizards, 7 straight losses, but they've covered 3 of the last 4. Second best in the NBA against the spread record on the road this season. Just keep hanging within the number. Pelicans coming off a couple of games against your 2 lowest scoring teams, the Blazers and the Grizzlies, holding them to 85.5 points per game as they should. This is Zion. He's questionable tonight. Is he another one of these guys that's going to get an extended All-Star break with his injury history? So got to keep an eye out for that. Wizards keep covering on the road. Would be them or nothing in this one. And how about Kyle Kuzma with an all-time quote saying he wants to build something in Washington. Nothing's been built in Washington in a while, and it won't be Kyle Kuzma to be the one who does that. I'll tell you that much.
Well, he might not be the one to do it tonight because it's just come out that he's got an illness and he's going to be questionable. So we did have a little bit of a lean to the Wizards. Obviously, you'd want to have your leading scorer, Kuzma. Let's see if he's going to play. Poole has just been he's been so bad. He's now a running joke of the NBA. Maybe ship him back to Golden State and let Dre beat him the fuck up again. I don't know what this kid needs. He's just been an absolute disaster over at Washington. So let's see if Kuzma is going to be in the lineup. You got Kuzma, Washington's leading scorer. You got Zion for New Orleans. Again, last day before an extended break for these teams. Got to see who's playing.
Yeah, I will say Jordan Poole no longer the league worst plus-minus leader. He is now fourth at minus 361 for the season. So he's
climbing the ladder.
Yeah, climbing the ladder. You have the Spurs at Dallas matchup. Victor Wembanyama, what a game this last one. Triple-double with the blocks. Shot over 70%. Still played under 30 minutes. Did it all in that one. Vassell, he had a good scoring game. And Dallas, you have Luka Doncic, who just keeps doing Luka Doncic things. 26, 11, 15, triple-double in his last one. Kyrie with 26, and they get the win, don't cover against the Wizards. Mavs, 5 straight wins, 4-1 against the spread. This is a team I expect to show up for this game. They had some woes in the season. They're getting healthy finally, and they're on a nice little 5-game win streak heading into the All-Star break. I would expect them to make that 6 with this one going one more. They do have some questionables, but still figuring things out with the new pieces added in. I would expect them to show up for this game in this one, heading to the break on a little bit of a heater.
Yeah, Spurs might pack it in after that big W at Toronto. They came up with a game against an absolutely terrible team. Let's see how they follow it up. The question marks, Lively and Kleber for Dallas, not as big now that they've traded for Gafford and P.J. Washington. Let's see how the Mavs wrap up this first half against the Spurs. Here's a team, what are they, 9-1 the last 10 meetings, but 5-5 against the spread. And that's because the lines usually, like today, double digits. So can San Antonio sneak under it? Again, maybe another one of those games that we'll be keeping an eye on while the game's going on.
And keep out a look for that matchup. That Wemby-Luka matchup could be something we talk about for the next several years in the West there in Texas. Pistons at Suns. Detroit coming off a loss against the Lakers last night. Hung tight with the Clippers. Couldn't do it with the Lakers. They got torched in the free throw battle. Suns, they get it done against the Kings. Depending on the number you got, they covered, pushed, didn't cover. Is right in the range. Obviously covered for us at the 5.5. Phoenix 6-2 their last 8. Playing good ball right now. Not covering too much at home this season, 10, 17-1. Seems like they have a lot of those tight games like they had with Sacramento last night. And Pistons, one of those teams that gives them the tight games there. 3-3 straight up, 5-1 against the spread. Last 6 trips to Phoenix. Pistons been playing a lot better basketball. Again, one of these bottom tier teams. Wouldn't be surprised with Phoenix. Bradley Beal, he leads that game last night. Coming off some hard fought games, Golden State and Sacramento. Maybe a little bit of a letdown before the break. The Pistons come into town. No Beal in this one. So would be worth a look here at Detroit in this game in my eyes. They've just been playing really good teams on this trip, really tough.
They have been. And Phoenix coming off a real tight one last night. And we already know Beal's out. And do they decide to give KD a night off before the long extended break? It's Detroit and nobody in this the line right now sitting at 13, not laying 13, not with Phoenix, not coming off that game. Again, Phoenix is up double digits. You know they're going to put KD and Booker on the bench. They've owned this matchup. They beat them by 14 at Detroit earlier this year, early in November. So, yeah, I take the points or nobody in this one. But Phoenix finally looking like they were putting it together. Now we got to see what happened with this Beal injury.
Then we have Kings at Denver. Kings coming off that loss last night to Phoenix. How about Sabonis? The triple doubles he's been laying out. What is that? 5 in his last 6 games now, 35, 18, and 12. Fox, he finally showed up, dropped 40 points last night, torching the free throw battle there. Kings not playing well heading into the break. 1-4 straight up against their spread their last 5. That last win there was an absolute blowout against the Denver Nuggets, crushed them by 30. And then you have this Nuggets team who's coming off that last game there. They got blown out at Milwaukee, but just a weird game. One of those where Porter and Murray, Murray, he left the game early. KCP, he left the game early. Porter didn't play well as those injuries added up. And now they come back home. A little bit of revenge chance, but also there's the injuries here added up now for Denver in this matchup. How do they show up for this one? Weird matchup history. Kings again, Bolton sacked this year. Nuggets played them tough in Denver. 9-1 the last 10 meetings. But similar to that matchup history with San Antonio and Dallas, 5-4-1 against the spread would be a lean here to Denver. Just want to see how low this number goes with everything going on.
Yeah, I'm going to agree, Ben. Little double revenge, and they just played 5 days ago, and Sack gave it to Denver. Denver just cannot play on the road. Now they're back home. They'll be, and albeit without Murray and KCP, but I think this is a game where Joker goes crazy. You've got Sac on a back-to-back. And me and Ben were talking just before we came on the air today. Sacramento, I now have them rated as the 10th best team in the West. That's how absolutely loaded the West is right now.
Crazy.
The recent play of Golden State and even the Lakers has just taken them, and what Sacramento now just regressing a little bit, dropping for their last 5. So Sacramento, they got to get their ship righted. So I don't know what more they could do. What more could you ask Sabonis to do? They could basically come up with a triple-double every game. But he's playing great ball, but it's just not translating into W's. Now to go to Denver on a back-to-back, that's always a tough deal, especially when there's a little revenge there. Denver's got something to play for. Not only were they beat thoroughly by Sacramento, but also got spanked when they went to Milwaukee for their last game. So they'll come and they'll want this last game before the All-Star break. It's Denver or nobody for me in this one.
Then Lakers at Utah. Interesting game. No LeBron James tonight for the Lakers, getting that extended rest. They're coming off a nice performance against the Pistons, not getting it done much on the road this year. It's been a theme for them. 10-17, 11-16 against the spread. And this Utah team coming off a home loss to red hot Golden State. I thought that was a nice spot for them with Warriors coming off that crazy game against Phoenix. Didn't matter. They got torched. Now just 2-5 their last 7. Have been playing good at home, but coming off a tough home loss there. Matchup history, Jazz in Utah, 4-1 straight up against the spread the last 5 meetings. No LeBron makes it interesting. We're looking at these 2 guards, Reeves and Russell, for the props. They seem to take care of a lot of the ball handling and playmaking, the assist props, the scoring, obviously. And then do the Lakers pack it in without LeBron James tonight, or do they go get a nice win? Lean here to the Jazz in this game, and I like them in that game against Golden State. Let me down there. If you guys remember last week, I talked about it. That game against OKC at home was big for me. If Utah can keep up with some of these better teams at home, they did it 2 in a row, Milwaukee and OKC. Then they have this loss to Golden State. We'll see what they show up tonight. But no LeBron James. This was one of the best home teams in the NBA. Had to be looking at Utah.
I'm a little surprised LeBron's not going to play tonight. They pretty much cruised last night. I think that final score is a little closer than it was. They got some guys some rest in the fourth quarter. I believe only 31 minutes for LeBron last night. Right now, Lakers sitting in the 9th spot in the West. Jazz in the 11th spot. And right now, just 2.5 games ahead of the Jazz. Just the game down the road that the Lakers might reconsider. Hey, we could have went to Utah and knocked them off. Look, I get this is the oldest player in the NBA. He's having a phenomenal year. Just if he played, if he went 38 minutes, if the game went into overtime, I could see it. Just because they cruised, I just thought this might be a game they might want to play. Put a nail in Utah's coffin. Without him, and now back to back, going to be a tough order for Lakers to go to Utah, a place where they don't do well normally. And here's a game Utah needs to win. Utah turned out to be sellers at the trade deadline. Looks like that's affected the mojo of the team. They were on playing great basketball, and they've been great at home. Not so much the last couple of games, but they ran into a buzzsaw named the Golden State Warriors in their last game. Let's see if they could bounce back. They need it. Even with that being said, back-to-back, no LeBron. I can't make Jazz 5.5 points better at home right now, though.
And then last game on the card, Clippers at Golden State. You have 2 teams trending opposite direction. Clippers, they were dominating the back last couple of months. Last couple of games, though, 1-2, 0-3 against the spread. Have been playing good on the road, 6-1, 5-2 ATS, coming off that blowout home loss against the Wolves. And Golden State coming off that big game at Utah. You had the big 3 all out in full effect. Curry, 25 points 10 times. Clay had 26. Draymond with the near triple-double. They're now 7-1. Their last 8 games playing terrific. This matchup history is just the home team. 9-0 the last 9 meetings. No Kawhi tonight. We'll be looking for the Warriors here to get it done. And this season, I mean, if you guys watched that Last Dance on Netflix with the Bulls, started to have a little bit of that feeling. All the drama, the suspensions with Draymond, the issues with the assistant coach passing away. Now reports coming out they were trying to trade for LeBron James at the deadline, didn't pull out. All that coming together. Golden State picking up momentum. Going to be interesting to see them out of the All-Star break. But this would be a big win to close out the run they've had prior to the break.
Yep. Cannot say enough about what Golden State's done since the death of the assistant coach. This team has absolutely turned it around. They're playing phenomenal. I mean, it's not just good right now. They're blowing teams out. Beat the Suns. Get the last second shot magic on a shot. The ball gets inbounded to Curry. The wrong direction, turn around, spin, and just throws in a three. Just like everything's falling for Golden State right now, and then they just go blow out the Jazz. Here they'll wrap up the season. You would think with one of the toughest teams on the schedule, but all of a sudden Clippers, their plays regressed the last few games, and they'll be going out there without their best player. Kawhi Leonard means every bit of 4.5 points to the line to the Clippers. Big. It's not Kawhi and Paul George. It's Kawhi and then Paul George. This is a difference this year. Kawhi has been playing at an MVP level. They put numbers up 50, 55, 90. I mean, the guy's just playing off the chart. So he'll get sat out this last game. Hopefully that doesn't that's not a trend to come in the second half, but he'll be out. Gotta like Golden State in this one. The way they've been playing, you got to throw the numbers out the window. Golden State hot, Clippers are not. No Kawhi, and the just the matchup history where the home team seems to just win every time. So to me, Warriors are nothing.
Yeah, going to be interesting to see how they show up in this one. And big factor here. I mean, if you look at Golden State, 7-1 the last 8. The 2 losses before this run, 1 point to the Lakers in double OT, 1 point to Sacramento on a game winner there. So a couple of tight losses, playing good ball. And no Chris Paul throughout this whole stretch. That's a much needed. I mean, before this big run, he was their plus-minus leader all season long. So we're going to be seeing when he gets back. But that's this massive card before we head in the All-Star break. A lot of big names out, a lot of big names questionable. No LeBron, no Kawhi. We got questionables with DiVincenzo. We got bigs out for Atlanta. Maxey, the only starter going for Philly. A lot of stuff going on injury-wise. If you guys want all that information, you know where to sign up on the Massa Edge app or massaedge.com. You guys get updated based on that all day long and updated on any bets we make on that information.
That's it, guys. We're getting back to work. Big card today. A few games tomorrow. We'll be ready for those. And then we'll be off for a week. So, I don't know, maybe we'll do a little special sometime, maybe Monday or Wednesday next week. Other than that, we'll be back next Friday. Actually, we're going to do it. We keep saying it. We're trying to do it. The business is just so incredibly, it's so busy. I wanted to put together a video, so maybe we'll get that out, Ben. Tomorrow's a nice 3-day card, nice and small, just so we could show exactly how we make the numbers. So you guys can look forward to that. We'll put that out at some point tomorrow.
I'll make sure you guys come back around for that. Appreciate you tuning in. Like, comment, subscribe below, and let's make some money.
Let's make some money.